Hello all, welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. Sorry guys for the late video. I had to re-record. Somehow the voice was not recorded, and I really wanted to get today's video out because there are some important lessons to learn today. Just because of that, I'm not gonna do introduction. Anybody new to my YouTubes, just go watch yesterday's recap. You'll understand how all this works and about me and all that. But that being said, I will just still give a quick introduction. What was our game plan today? This was our game plan that you see on the screen. That was our game plan for today. FedEx, UPS, Coin, MSTR, SMCI, Tesla, Microsoft, bunch of the names which were on our watch list. And then we also had our levels for the day. That were these were our levels for the day. You can they really helped us for IWM trade, Google trade, AMD trade. So a lot of those trades, these levels really helped out. We create them every morning. We create the game plan every morning for our community. And this was my day 2, day 3 plays. RH, LULU, UPS, Snow, RDT, DJT, PANW were the right winning setups today from my day 2, day 3 planning sheet that I share with the community every morning. So a lot to cover today, guys. I'm going to cover the topic of 10 a.m. concept. Then I'm going to cover the money flow strategy to how to focus on the strong sectors. Then, of course, I'm going to focus a little bit more on day 2, day 3 setups. So a bunch of teachings to learn today. So I'm going to be quick, and I'm going to be quick in these recaps because I had to re-record it again. So it'll be pretty short video. So try to listen carefully what I say. I will post the screen so that you can go back and look at my guidance and then understand about each setup what I'm saying. A lot of my guidance is on voice. I'm on voice first few hours in the community, so you won't see that, but I will try to show whatever my time-stamped guidance on the trading floor, alert floor. I will show you that. All right, guys, that being said, let's start with the first play. All right, so I'm going to start with the initial thing. I'm going to start with how we traded all the semiconductors long with the money flow. We discussed it in the pre-market that first day of the quarter, first day of the month, if the money flow comes in semiconductors, so we will follow that. And that's what literally happened. I haven't tweeted about it. Because how do you want to focus on a strong sector, right? Because with the planning, this sector, when it moves crazy. And I'm going to talk about few of our winning plays on SMCI, Micron, AMD, or even if you traded NVIDIA. But all those trades I'm going to discuss. But I just want to, talk about why we were focusing on these longs, right? Why we were focusing it into our 10 a.m. trades. Remember, there are two kinds of trades: opening 9:30 into 10 a.m. and then there is after 10 a.m. trades, which we will talk more about in our 10 a.m. SPY and QQQ short. We will discuss it. So how were these trades very profitable for us? So let's see. When the market opened, I see a lot of flow coming in a lot of these semiconductor names. SMCI had a lot of flow right at open. There was some more flow coming in, 935, 940. I see a lot of flow coming in, and I tweet about it as well, right? So let me show you. So I tweet about how the semiconductors had a lot of money flow first day of the quarter, right? And the same thing I said in my community. Let me show you. So let's look here, So what did I say at 9:36? I said a lot of money flow coming in the semiconductors. So how did I know it? I look at the option flow. We have so many option flow scanners running, right? I go to my market analysis tracker. I could see that which is the sector which is kind of a strong today. In the morning, it was semiconductors. You see how the semiconductors was strong all day. This was the first big sector which was going into 10 a.m. if you look where I'm pointing. So that's why semiconductor was our focus. That's why we traded Micron, SMCI, NVIDIA, ARM. So we'll talk about all those. But the reason I want everybody to understand is that how were we focused there? How did we know that to focus on semiconductors? And then we will go into individual names or individual trades. But you have to be ready in the pre-market, and you need to focus on the option flow, either on the option flow or look at the ETFs. Have your system set up like I have. I track market all day. I try to see which sector has the money flow so that we can trade that. So this morning at the open, it was semiconductors. Not only that, IWM was selling off. So IWM, which we will cover, which was our winning short today, I will cover it later, but the money was flowing out of IWM and was going into the semiconductors. And I did tweet the same thing in the morning as well, that how IWM has the money outflow, whereas the semiconductor has money inflow. So let me show you here. So here's my morning tweet, right? IWM money outflow going back into semis, start of the quarter. So you can see that, you know, we knew what the sector is doing, what the institutional money or whatever the, you know, the big whales are doing at the open, and we just need to follow that with high conviction with our technical setups. And let's look at our individual names that we traded with this semiconductor strength. So the first one we're going to look at is SMCI. So what was SMCI doing? SMCI, let's go back, look at our pre-market levels, right? So SMCI, our pre-market levels were 1010 were support, 1026 was resistance pivot. So I see that resistance pivots being broken. Not only that, you see the clouds being broken. It's turning bullish. I already showed you the sector was strong, and I see SMCI calls coming in, 1075 calls coming in, 1065 calls. That's when, you know, most of the folks we in the community are already long. So that's my assumption that we should be already long, because we were pre-market planning on this, how to trade that. And I saw that, I told everybody that, you know, semiconductors are long, money is flowing in, SMCI long, 1050 I gave the first target, we met the 1050, then my second target was 1075, we almost met 1069, you know, close to that target, you know, and then it started to sell off. There was a seller at right here at 1064, but look at this, right? Even if you got at 120, you got $40 per share, or your options, even 1100 options went 100% over 120 breakout, right? So these are the morning trades you need to take with high conviction. If you're taking the 1020 trade, you know your risk is at 1010, right? $10 risk or $12 risk, and you risk one and you make 3 or 4. So that is the real risk reward. And we were out, you know, by 10:20 when the market turned. Remember the 10 a.m. concept. You know, I teach you again and again, 10 a.m. market pivots, market flags, market reverses, or market continues. It's always a big pivot at 10 a.m. also decides if we are going to chop or if we are going to go sideways. So anyways, guys, time spent, comments here. You can pause the screen, look at the price action, and see how we nail SMCI, big winner for the whole community in the morning. So next one I'm going to discuss with the community that we traded in the community was Micron, right? So let's go back, see what was the plan on Micron. So if I go back, the Micron has a Bank of America had a profit target increase. Our support was 119, resistance pivot was 119.40. So the plan was to long it versus 119. So that was the plan. As soon as the market opens, Micron pushes. It breaks out of the pre-market levels, break out of that 121 pre-market highs, pushes over this pre-market level. Right away, it held 119, did not even dip. You take long, you put your stops under 119. You don't double think about it, right? If it works, it works. If it breaks under 119, you get out. And of course, semiconductors were strong. The money flow was coming in. That's why I said you could long any of these semiconductors, because the money flow is coming in. So Micron, strong. I told everybody in the open that is held the cloud. I gave them the target 125. We met 125. Then my next target was high of the day 126.23. We met there, and by end of the day, then when it broke this 512, that's where you get out completely. And that was another setup. That was end of day 512 B minus short scalps, breaks 512s, comes to 34.50. So beautiful long Micron all day, high conviction with the planning, with proper risk reward. Even if you added 121s, right, you risked $2, you made $4 or $5. That's one risk to 2 reward. So that's kind of trade you want to do. The options also went 50 to 100%. So perfectly beautiful Micron trade in the community with the planning and with the proper guidance. So next one I'm going to talk about is AMD. All right, so let's go back and look at our levels. What were our levels on AMD? AMD was 179.64, resistance was 183.40. So semiconductors are strong. You pick up any semiconductor you want to trade. You don't have to trade everything. You pick what you like. Over the clouds, over the pre-market highs, and 185 was my first target that I gave everybody. 187.50 was my second target. My second target that I gave to everyone was almost short, like 36 cents, right? But you could see that since it broke out of the clouds and pushed over the pivots, you could trade that AMD as well. Nvidia, Micron, AMD, whichever you want to trade, you could trade it. And remember, it was a 10 a.m. trade. I told everybody that pullback time, look what I'm saying at 10:06. I am saying pullback time, all the profit should be logged. Most profit should be logged. You could leave runners because Micron held a trend, some others held a trend, but AMD came back, Nvidia came back, ARM came back. You could have done a B minus shorts on them, but that's not the point. The point was what we were doing, our longs in the open. That was the setup with the semiconductor flow, with the conviction. This was a third winner for us. You can see the a lot of things I say on the voice, but beautiful trade on AMD. So next one we're going to discuss is LI. LI was a long loser at open. Let's see. So let's go back and see what was our plan on LI, right? So Chinese names were gapping up. So because of the news on the EV deliveries, but the plan on LI was long was only versus 31 or 31.20 area and gap fill under 31. Resistance was 31.70. So as soon as I see it pushing, I say we long the pullbacks, right? It's breaking out. We long the pullbacks and I long it, but then I see the very bearish candle, right? So look here, long versus the pullbacks, a bearish candle. I don't like it. Watch the 31.20, and if it gets heavy, we will turn bearish, and it really got heavy. I got out of my long, right? It did bounce once, right? It bounced once from 31.20, and I thought maybe it's holding the trend, but right away it flushed, and then I don't look back. Get out, short for the gap fill, right? You don't have to trade the amateur move. See, I traded amateur move and I lost 30-40 cents. Then I was covering, first I have to cover those 30-40 cents loss, and then another 30-40 cents make up for the profit. But if you did not trade the amateur move, you got a nice gap fill setup, right? Because you didn't change the amateur move and you got a nice gap fill setup. Me, on the other hand, I traded the amateur move, so I gave up. But we have to give it a shot, because if the breakout works, it works. If it does not, losers stay small. Let's say you added at 31.50, you got out at this warning 31.20, 20-30 cents, then you shorted it and the short went $1 for you. So you lost 45-60 cents, that's fine, but the short gap fill went $1. Look here, look at the planning, pre-market planning, and look at the guidance that I gave on the gap fill short. The target I gave was 30-20s, and we almost filled the full gap, actually filled the full gap. So that's why you have to change the bias when your long is not working. Quickly turn, because if it's heavy, there's a gap in between. Yes, sometimes it can chop up and down like snow did to us on Thursday, but that's fine. If it chops, we try twice and we take a loss, we move on. But this one, if you shorted it right away, gave us nice wins, covered for the loss and some more. So a lot to learn from this LI trade. Next one I'm going to cover is FedEx, right? So let's go back and see what was the plan on FedEx. FedEx and UPS had a news. The plan on FedEx was support was 280-275, resistance was 286. Bearish buys to short the pops. Look carefully what I'm saying. Bearish buys to short the pops. Daily is bullish though. That sometimes if daily is bullish, sometimes the gap downs can be bought up. But anyways, so look here, 286 the resistance I gave. It pushes to 286, rejects. That confirms the short, and then it goes sideways, choppy, and then it finally breaks a bear flag, all day fade. So the plan was to short the pop. The plan worked perfectly. Now, how do you short it? You wait for the amateur move to get done, because if you're shorting here, you probably will be squeezed out by that time. So you wait first 10 minutes. You wait for the amateur candle to end. When you see the rejection, then you short. You have your $2 risk. And then it's still bear flagging. Your risk is always here, 285. As long as it's under 34.50, it can keep fading. But sometimes the 34.50 is too wide, so you have to calculate your risk based upon the candles. But anyways, so FedEx was bearish. I confirmed the bearishness at 10 a.m. Then it was breaking the flag, and 280 was the target I gave to everyone on FedEx. We met our 280 target and some more for beautiful, nice trade from pre-market planning, FedEx short. All right, now I'm just going to cover SPY and QQQ. So I have covered in many of my videos, previous YouTube videos, our concepts of 10 a.m. right? So 10, if you go to my website, if you go there and you go to my free website, you go to trade 10 a.m. trading concept, you will understand what I talk about 10 a.m. concept. It's a crucial because the first 30 minutes are volatile, but the period between 10 a.m. to 10:30 will determine the rest of the day trend, either their rejection, continuation, flag break, or reversals, right? So that's what happened. What happened today? FedEx right at 10 a.m. and it was bearish. My guidance all day was bearish. Since the morning I was, we shorted it. I'll tell you how we were bearish. QQQ was initially bullish, but look at that: 1 rejection, 2 rejection, 3 rejection. So it's getting bearish there. It cannot get over. I told everyone, if we cannot get over pre-market highs, we're gonna reject. So we shorted it. We actually shorted this bear flag, and we shorted this bear flag on QQQ. So look here, short scalps only, bear flag breakdown, 10:30. The trade was at 10:30, and my target was 522s and 444s. We actually got more than our targets. The puts went 100%. So it was a very, very stress-free trade on the short side on SPY QQQ. We used the 10 a.m. concept, we used the pre-market lows concept, we used EMA Clouds, we used bear flags, we used all these concepts to trade it with the trend. See, we are not trying to buy it. We know the trend is bearish. Yes, sometimes we can get chopped. It holds this level, it will bounce. But look at this setup. It's stress-free SPY QQQ short. 10 a.m. concept, right? Again, I repeat the things again and again because I want to make sure you guys understand the concept I'm teaching here. So this and you combine VIX strategy with it. You combine VIX strategy and you can see my guidance on the short side. VIX was getting over 14, and with confidence you short the puts. You take the puts and short it, SPY QQQ for beautiful winner. Everybody did good. And not only that, you could short other names. When the market was tanking, you could short Nvidia, AMD, anything with the market, with the pulling, it is going to fade, right? It's the same, or you trade short just QQQ. So that was amazing. SPY QQQ short, you can see the timestamp guidance, and then a lot of my guidance is on voice. You cannot see that, but SPY QQQ was amazing short in the community today. So let's now look at coin and MSTR, right? So what was the plan on coin? So coin was kind of weird. It was again moving with the market because 10 a.m., right? Pushed into 10 a.m., then rejected. So coin 263 was support, resistance was 260. So 263 was resistance, 260 was support. Trade versus the cloud, that was the plan. Initially coin was bullish, so it was pushing, right? So, but then again, what happens? 10 a.m. 10 a.m. concept again, right at 10 a.m. the things start to reject. Things start to reject right at 10 a.m. And then you fade it. And I mentioned, I missed the right at that one, but we were bullish in the morning, but then we turned bearish at 11. I mentioned, and even after my mention at 11, we faded from 260 to 250. So we say faded $10 on that bear flag breakdown. So I said turned bearish, watch the pops to short coin, right? And 250 it met, and I told everybody to cover at 250 because it's finding some buyers, and it bounced from 250. But you could see with the system, 10 a.m. concept, pre-market lows, coin short. The system works. Now how you enter and exit, that will come to you with practice, but I show you every day how the system works. So coin was a beautiful short all day, and same was for MSTR, even though MSTR was hard to trade with so much spready options and a little wiki. So coin was much better to cover for that short side. All right, now I'm gonna cover Tesla, right? So let's go back and see what was the news, what was the plan on Tesla. Tesla, the news was, it was added, Wells Fargo added to short idea, and support was 175, resistance was 177, 178. I said no go under 175. No go under 175. Basically, there was no long in Tesla. Now for short, Yes, it was bear flagging. We wanted to see the 175 breakdown. And look at that. They tried to hold 175 so far. Look what I'm saying. Short, no long. Versus 155, it's trying to bounce. That's still a B minus setup because it's bearish. And then I saw the selling. I said it's heavy. They're trying to hold, but lot of selling. And there goes. No long, only short. And boom, from 175 to 170. Easy peasy in 30 minutes. That was a great short. Great trade on the put side. So the point is it's not just making money on the short side, but a lot of traders, they tell me, Rip, if it was not because of me, they would have been buying dips on things like Tesla today and getting destroyed. And meanwhile, we do no long, save money, and we short and make money. Defined risk, right? If you're shorting here, 175 is your defined risk, even if you short this bear flag. Look at that beautiful, beautiful fade. Repeatable setup, guys. And also, again, it was with the market. Market was heavy. Look at the timing. Right at that 10 a.m. is when Tesla started to become heavy. So same concept, guys. 10 a.m. concept. All right, let's look at RH. So RH was a day 2 short, day 2 bearish. It was short. It chopped around a little bit, but if you go back, see at my day 2 sheet, you can see 344 was the pivot. Support and resistance was 355. And even 350 was another resistance, because there's a psychological resistance and it could never get over it. All day it was bearish. RH, the target I gave everybody was 335, and mentioned the bearish in the morning, and 335 is where you cover and you get out. Easy, stress-free day 2 short from my day 2 strategy and my day 2 pre-market guide. Next one we're going to look at is Home Depot. So Home Depot was on our game plan. I just couldn't put the levels on that side because it was running short of the time in the morning, but it was a day 2 short. It was on a watch list. So I share my TradingView watch list with the community every morning. So it was HD was one of our top day 2 setups, and let's see what I said. So I see the bearishness, and I talk about that how it's bearish. Even if if I said like at 10 a.m. the bear flag, 10 a.m. bear flag with the market. Even after that, it faded from 378 to 367. That was a huge fade. And I told everyone, look here, I said 369 is a daily support. That's a 50 EMA. If it breaks 369, it's going to go to 365. But right now it's trading at 367 something, and under 369s. So all day fade, look at that. That was, even if you short it at 380s, 378s, you still got like $10 short. And look, and important thing to note is we broke this trend line on daily chart, and we broke this 20 EMA on Home Depot, and then we faded under clouds 50. It's breaking 50 EMA. If it breaks this, Home Depot can fade more. There's a lot of selling on Home Depot right now. So let's look at another one, Snow, which was our swing. But it was kind of a loser in the morning. I told everybody to long it, but again, 10 a.m. started to fade at 10 a.m., breaking the clouds, and we had to get out. Take a loss, move on, or just short it. But, these things will happen. Day trade was a loss. Long was a loss, and short was okay. But, yeah, that was a loser. All right, let's quickly look at IWM. So IWM was a short all day. So just as I told you, money was flowing out of IWM, and it was going into the semiconductors in the morning. And as I showed you my tweet, I tweeted as well that money is flowing out. So look at that, money outflow going to the semis. So you need to see that which sector is strong and which sector is giving up, and what were our levels on IWM. Look at that. Support was 210.99, 210.15. Both those supports gave up and filled the gap, and more short, all day short on IWM. Easy trade on the puts. Kyle was on top of it all day. So, beautiful trade. Simple. This was a gap fill setup, and you can see that I told bearish as well, and most of the traders in the community. And you don't have to trade everything, right? If you just traded IWM, you still did good. So it's all about you choose what you want to trade and what fits best for you, right? So I show my guidance, I see what I see, and I talk about it on the voice and the guidance. So many opportunities, but you just need to figure out what you want to trade for your conviction, for your confidence, something that works for you. So anyways, good winner in the community, IWM. All right, let's look at Google quickly, right? So Google was very strong today. I think there was a note on the weekend from Jefferies. So for us, let's go back and look at our levels on Google first. So level I gave on the Google was 150.46, 150.93, and remember 150 is always a psychological level. The resistance on Google was 151.75, and right away it was super strong, super duper strong. In the pre-market planning, I told everybody that we will trade versus 150. Under 150 is bearish, but we need to watch the market. So it held 150, look here, held 150 and pushed. So if you long here, it's a B minus setup, because you have to risk 150, but you can long here, and when it's breaking out of those pivots that I gave in the pre-market, and you can risk, even if you long here 152, your risk is $1, but you're making $3-4, so that's one risk to 3 reward trade. So definitely beautiful trade, on Google today. We have a swing, so so far one of the best swings this year, still going. Let's quickly look at a few of our other day 2 winners. One was Reddit. So look at the chart first. What did it do, right? Reddit. And next one was DJT, from 58 bucks to 45 bucks. Look at how, and what were my levels? So DJT 58.40, Reddit 47.90. This, and it was on day 2, and it was on a game plan. Reddit was on a game plan. Check day 2, day 3 sheet, check day 2, day 3 sheet, and as soon as the market opened, I saw the heaviness. I said short from our day 2, day 3 plan, right? And then because again, I keep repeating that. So many ideas. You need to trade what you like, So let's say DJT was another short. You see the levels. The levels matter. You just have to follow the levels. So it was short under 58 as soon as it breaks, and Reddit was short under this 48 level. So you can short right at open, or you can short this swipe, or you can short this pre-market low breakdown. Understand your risk has to be wide. If you're shorting 48, then your risk has to be 70-60 cents or high of the day, either, but you fade it all day under that level. And if Reddit now breaks IPO lows, it can probably go lower. Understand my IPO rules that I teach again and again and again. So that's how you trade those. And for DJT, DJT is just fill the gap, coming back to the support, still bearish, kind of a cult stock. Options are moving nicely on this one, but there's a reason we have these stocks on our game plan every day, so that we stay on top of them. So beautiful trades there on day 2, day 3. So let's now look at some other day 2s, right? PANW, another day 2. LULU, another day 2 setup. So these are, so why did I invent the day 2, day 3 strategy? The concept behind this day 2, day 3 strategies, anything that has news yesterday, day before yesterday, or even week before, I don't care. I call it as my day 2, day 3 setups. You can pause the screen, understand the rule. You need to know the levels, yesterday's levels, pre-market highs, lows. Is it under or over the clouds? Is it on some daily EMA? Is it at the daily Fibonacci level? What are the levels being claimed? Is some option flow coming in? Combine all these parameters to trade these day 2, day 3 setups. Can be long, can be short. Some of the day 2, day 3s become swings as well. But the point is to find these are stress free. You saw that. Okay, let's look at LULU. 391 was support pivot, 395 was the resistance, and PANW 283.50 and 286 was the resistance. For LULU, 395 resistance never crossed, so never bullish, all day fade. PANW, faded right away from the where was it, 286, never hit that resistance to break and faded away. And remember, we have 10 a.m. we are fading and all day fade. So stress free, guys. So that's why you need to learn this day 2, day 3 setups. They will really help you. Really bearish chart on PANW, so not ready for swing yet. Anyways, guys, sorry for the late video today. Just had some issues, so I had to re-record. Definitely, I think today was very educational. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and ask me if any questions. If you want to trade with me, join my community. Do not come for alerts, come for education, guidance. This is what I do, that I show you what I do, and hopefully we can all trade together. By the way, there's still a day left on the Easter promo, so make sure, if you want to join, you should join now. All right guys, take care, bye bye, see you tomorrow.